inside.
What a day for a daydream. What a day for a daydreaming boy. And I'm lost in a daydream, dreaming about my bundle of joy. And even if time ain't really on my side, it's one of those days for taking a walk outside. I'm blowing the day to take a walk in the sun, before my face in summer's new mown lawn. I've been having a sweet dream. I've been dreaming since I woke up today, starring me and my sweet dream. She's the one that makes me feel this way. And even if time is passing me by life, I couldn't care less about the dues you say I've got. Tomorrow I'll pay the dues for dropping my load, high in the face for being a sleepy bulldog. Promise so. Daydream will last too long into the night. Tomorrow breakfast you may break up your ears, or you may be daydreaming for 1,000 years. What a day for a daydream, custom made for a daydreaming boy. And I'm lost in a daydream, dreaming about my bundle of joy. First time I've done that one ever in its entirety. This is a song by the Go-Go's that was covered by Farm Boy 3. Can you hear them? They talk about us, telling lies. Well, that's no surprise. Can you see them? See right through them. They have no shields, no secrets to reveal. It doesn't matter what they say. In the jealous games people play, our lips are sealed. Silence. When you look at them, look right through them. That's when they'll disappear. That's when we will be feared. It doesn't matter what they say. In the jealous games people play, our lips are sealed. Pay no mind to what they say. Doesn't matter anyway. Our lips are sealed. Hush, my darling, don't you cry. Quiet angel, forget their lies. Can you hear them? They talk about us, telling lies. Well, that's no surprise. Can you see them? See right through them. They have no shields, no secrets to reveal. It doesn't matter what they say. In the jealous games people play, our lips are sealed. Pay no mind to what they say. Doesn't matter anyway. Our lips are sealed. Our lips are sealed.
a couple from John Higley. I'm not really inspired tonight, so John will inspire me. And this is where anybody ever stood boring their grandmother to death. I know I did. By putting on little shows and demanding that she watch me when I came out from behind the curtains to do the Sound of Music or something. But, this one's called A Show for My Sister. When the cardboard curtain came up to show the first puppet performance, it was for you and only you, my space-hopping puppet. You in our living room, giving room to the scissor-snipped glue, snipped in from Woolworths for a shilling. My cut-out cast were not cut out for anyone but you, Angie Doon. You, my key and only witness. How willingly you paid your heed and your entrance monies, how eager your attention as each figure drew forth the cutlass of its character and spilled the beans of what it had to do. What an audience you were, until you began fidgeting in Act 12, Scene 2. Anyway, I'll do the other one in a minute, but this one's called Postage Stamps. I survey the pages of the hinged collection, once my father's, now my own. Every few years I will inspect the perforated ranks, but only today do I understand. The penny black has just dropped, and I give thanks. Now I see my grandmother's tongue applying moisture to the glue throughout the ages, and my heart is all aflutter at those paper butterflies. A shame we kept the stamps and threw away the letters.
Some famous poet once said, "How many ways do I love you?" Don't know who it was, something like that. This is my version anyway. It's called 41 Kinds of Love. It started off 20 kinds of love, and then people kept saying, "Oh, I've got some more," so I added them in. It goes like this. Sweet love, sleepy love, fun and freaky love. Love Island love, is that love? Mad love, bad love, everlasting love. Baby love, baby love. I need you, oh I need you love. Summer love, courtly love, woof woof, puppy love. Mother and fatherly love, brother and sisterly love. Love that dares to say its name love. Starstruck bliss love, give us a kiss love. It's you I miss love. Loving the new you love, loving the old you love. Loving the woman in you love, loving the man in you love. Loving through beer glass eyes love. Loving your size, love. Love the love handles, love. Love at first sight, love. Will it last the night, love? Forever met friends, love. Let's start again, love. Missing you already, love. Dewy-eyed, love. What a surprise, love. Honeymoon, love. Jordan Price, love. That's not nice, love. Cockney horse and carriage, love. That means marriage, love. Tender as the night, love. After the fight, love. Just take your time, love. Say you'll be mine, love. John was so right, love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need.
I suppose these are a feminist collection in a way, or an anti-feminist collection, I'm not sure which. Anyway, never mind. Right. The Curse of Eve. When God took Adam's rib and made a partner for his bliss, young Eve no doubt rejoiced to be awakened with a kiss. But soon enough her rapture turned to something less serene. A serpent and an apple. Well, the snake, of course, was he. And when, in innocence, she called her perfect partner's name and shared with him the fatal gift, of course she copped the blame. And afterwards, while Adam delved, Eve did the washing up, produced the children, cleaned the house, dragged round from shop to shop. I must get better glasses. No, they really are, they're very strange. In sweat and tears she passed her time, though Adam worked as well. An 8-hour day with coffee breaks, no pleasure, truth to tell. Yet slowly, slowly better things emerged on Eve's horizon. Washing machines and microwaves, duvets to feast her eyes on. And these were mostly made by males, who now at last began to share domestic joys and wear with pride the badge, new man. And yet the serpent held in store one final secret weapon to terminate this paradise, the dreaded television. First, just picture now the happy scene, with Mum and Dad together, their helpful brood around their feet, watching the TV weather. Next comes a drama. Mum prepares to find her breath come quicker. Oops. As lovers meet and villains plot, she's watching Poldark. It's then Dad starts to flicker. Channel to channel, swift as light. Oh, stop, cries Mum in tears. I'll never know now what came next, if fate confirmed her fears. Don't fret, said Dad, that serial is sure to be repeated. But on he flicks from sport to news to pop, while Mum, defeated, sees programmes flicker past her eyes, too fast to see them go. A word, a movement, but they're gone before she can say, whoa! And so at last she steals away to sadly ruminate that new or old, helpmate or lad, men just can't concentrate. No, in the end, there's just one thing that women can't abide. It's not the upturned toilet seat, the mess on every side, the rotting pants, the mouldy cans that agonise one's soul, but that damned itchy finger dance on each remote control. With apologies to the gentlemen here present, none of whom fit into this chorus,
Obviously.
yeah. Something a little bit more well, everyone's grown up to it. Yes. Creative writing. My door is always open. In comes the world. Save the children and double glazing. Is Owen there? Can I leave my subscription with you? Paper money? Outside, bicycles lean against the wall. I notice across the road a bright new face entering number 12. The vicar's come to winter at number 30 while his manse is cured of dry rot and woodworm. Someone is watching me, will tell me later, I see your boy's home from college, and we'll gossip over the cheese and yoghurt in the shop. Too easy perhaps to live here, to become complacent. The artist should be a stranger, his art a torment, a pattern not easily found among the pressures of shopping, unsoiled nappies and friendly smiles. I ready my bags for class. On one hand, poems, registers, homework, handbooks. On the other, coffee, for a moment of conversation with other housewives, who also divide themselves, whose creative anguish grows from the sharp reproach of unmade beds. Another one this time, or shall I wait till next time round? Let's have a more congenial one. Oops. I am, believe it or not, an Essex girl, among other things. Born and bred in south-west Essex and so forth, and I got interested in the local family where I used to work in the library in Romford. And the Cook family, you've possibly heard me mention them before. They're a bit like King Charles's head in David Copperfield, you know, the gentleman who was obsessed with King Charles's head. So I'm obsessed with the Cooks, among other things. And anyway, Anthony Cook, who was a great scholar, had 5 daughters and several sons who were slightly less famous. They just carried the family line on for a couple of generations. But one daughter died just after she got married, but the other 4 were quite well known. And one of them, Mildred, it's an unusual name, isn't it, Mildred? Mildred Cook married William Cecil, who became Lord Burghley, of course, Queen Elizabeth's Prime Minister, you might say. If you look at the biographies of Burghley, they always have pictures of Mildred, and she looks very sort of, I don't know, not very attractive, let's put it that way, drawn-faced and so on. I always think she looks, in the reproductions of paintings in the books, like a woman who's sort of well on the way in pregnancy and is showing it, you know, in the face. Some people do, some don't. But I actually got the chance to go to Hatfield House, which was, of course, a Cook mansion. That house was built by Mildred and William's son, Robert. But the actual origin of that painting, the original of the paintings are there. And if you look at that, she looks very different. She looks like somebody you might quite like, you know. But anyway, Gidea Hall, which was where they lived, is just up the road from the library in Romford. We went up there one day to have a look. It's Gidea Park now, a housing estate, built largely by Clough Williams-Ellis from Portmeirion. In his early days, it was what gave him the chance to build Portmeirion. A bit like our friend Jonathan Edwards, you know, the Terry Hetherington thing gave him the chance to get somewhere, as you were saying earlier on. But anyway, there is one wall left. The house went long since. There's one wall of the orchard left there. And it was a sunny day, and you could imagine what it would have been like, you know, an Elizabethan garden. And so this is William Cecil coming to court her. And of course Anthony Cook himself was quite important. He was the cousin by marriage of Somerset, who was the uncle of Edward VI, etc. So, you know. The young man comes to see her father. They discuss theology while she embroiders or boils her jams. He is not, she thinks, handsome, but perhaps something more. One day she puts down her needle, picks up the sharp blade of debate. The quick twists of their running thought parry and thrust as they argue outside by the orchard wall. Weapons are sheathed. They stand by the sun-warmed brick and speak of a world ruled only by laughter. The great queen comes to see her husband. They discuss statecraft while she orders the household. Her stepson is awkward. Her cradle remains empty too long. Her children, coming at last, are unlucky. Later, the old queen, garish and painted, will nurse her lost lover with curses and gruel. Only these words in his notebook. There is no thought that can recover what cannot be had again. Only can I thank God who let her be with me so long. Thank you.
An American folk song, and the words have been dated to around about the 1850s. The song's called "The Lakes Pontchartrain," and in the first verse there's lines which go, "I cursed all foreign money, no credit could I gain." And this is thought to be around about the time just before the American Civil War, when all the states and various authorities were issuing their own currencies, and some of them become worthless. Although it's an American folk song, there's actually a lot of recordings of it by Celtic folk artists, particularly Irish, but also some Scottish, and I think Planksty, are they Welsh?
Irish.
Oh, they're Irish. But certainly Scottish. There's a lot of recordings of this song, and the tune is, although the words come from the American South in the 1850s, the tune is thought to be probably of Irish or Scotch origin. 'Twas on one bright March morning when I bid New Orleans adieu. I took the road to Jackson Town, my fortune to renew. I cursed all foreign money, no credit could I gain, which put my heart a longing for the lakes of Pontchartrain. I stepped on board a railway car beneath the morning sun. I rode the rails till evening time, when I laid me down again. No stranger would be friend to me, till a dark girl toward me came, and I fell in love with a Creole girl by the lakes of Pontchartrain. She took me to her mama's house, and she treated me right well. The hair upon her shoulders in jet black ringlets fell. To try and paint her beauty would surely be in vain. So handsome was my Creole girl by the lakes of Pontchartrain. Oh, I asked her if she would marry me, but she said that could never be. But she had got a lover, though he was far out at sea. She swore that she'd be true to him, and true she would remain, till he returned to his Creole girl by the lakes of Pontchartrain. So fare thee well, my Creole girl, I'll never see you no more. But I won't forget your kindness in that cottage by the shore, and at each social gathering a flowing glass I'll drain. Oh, I'll drink to the health of my Creole girl by the lakes of Pontchartrain. Yes, I'll drink to the health of my Creole girl by the lakes of Pontchartrain. The novelist Daniel Defoe, he wrote novels like Robinson Crusoe, Moll Flanders, but he was also well known for interviewing prisoners either in jail or at the gallows, and he would then write what they told him, the story of their lives. He was one of the early journalists in that sense, and in true journalistic tradition, if he, say, arrived too late at the gallows and the execution not already taken place, he would just make up the life story anyway. Historians think that there's probably more manuscripts of these confession manuscripts around, and that they haven't all come to light. And they write, because I found one this morning in my attic. And I've blown off the dust, and I'm going to read it to you now. It's called Robin Dick's Confession. So this is confession of a man at the gallows. Aunt Charity was the last surviving child of 9. She outlived 8 brothers. 7 of those brothers led honest lives, begetting scores of brats before expiring exhausted and happy. The 8th brother was my father. I'm the only child of a cutthroat highwayman and happily shot dead robbing a stagecoach. Words need to be said in memory of my Aunt Charity. Refusing to give to do-gooders and good-doers, Aunt clutched her life savings to the bitter end. For years she was a recluse, counting shillings while supping sour milk with Thrifty, her cat. Her purse as slammed shut as a vault, she amassed a fortune, sticking to habits of frugality and praying for more. Like a governess guarding a young maid on heat, Auntie chaperoned every penny. Aunt Charity died comfortably off, buried face up in a costly walnut coffin, the strangle marks hardly noticeable. To the surprise of some, she died without leaving a will. Too stunned to scream, when the muzzle tightened round her mouth, she could see I was busy and not in the mood for family chit-chat. She was quieter than usual when constricted and choked for words. I rifled Aunt's cabinet and drawers, convinced the old skinflint had money hidden under a mattress. Yet nothing was there but feathers and a bedpan. I ransacked oak chests, mahogany wardrobes, church envelopes. The sly vixen had been cunning. In Exodus 20, verse 15 of a cheap edition Bible, I chanced upon a map and key. Aunt Charity was childless, spared the expense of offspring. Her brother's offspring hardly knew the old maid. None showed up at the funeral, but every living relative sought a lawyer when the size of Aunt's inheritance was revealed. In no haste, I bided my time, counting my blessings and booty before consulting a big-wig lawyer I'd done dealings with before. He'd done me a favour in the past. He got hanging reduced to a fine. I'm hoping he can repeat the trick. Charity was an old lady with little left to live for and nothing worthwhile to look back on. But me, until recently, I had a great deal to look forward to, like spending Aunt's assets in secret. I very, very stupidly got caught. I took you for a common scoundrel, not an auntie slayer, said the magistrate. Say where you've hidden the treasure, you'll rot in Newgate till you cough. My dungeon is cosy enough. The jailer accepts every bribe, but I'm under the scrutiny of quacks. An army of doctors stare and attempt to see through me, trying to spot a soul in my skull. Intrigued by the shifty smirk on my pox-pit face, Dr. Scan is keen to measure the bumps on my head. The good doctor intends to warn the public against Auntie-side and people like me, to reduce suffering in this suffocating world, to advance science, and above all, to give his career a leg up. Dr. Scan is convinced I'm mad, but most months I'm as sane as he is. On a good day, I'm absolutely charming. Only a lonely psychopath. My plight is unfair, unjust, not what I had in mind. Through no fault of my own, a rich relative happened to be in the wrong place the last time she breathed. I'm left with no choice but to confess, to make maximum fuss repenting, and to answer a quack's troubling question. Dr. Scan wants to know if there's any resemblance between my frosty grave aunt and my stone-dead mother. Surely he could work this out himself. I'd rather not tell, but circumstances oblige that I confess. Of course, dear mother was as tight-fisted as auntie. Why else would poor dad have slit her throat? Some say that hanging's too good for me, but I deserve better than that. What chance did I have with a father like mine and a mother without the throat? I've been more sinned against than some folk, a victim of fate. Not a lot I could do about it. I took wrong turns, fell in with a bad sort, but there's worse than me never been caught. All right, I admit I have a dark side, who hasn't? I've done a million wrongs, but I had a dozen reasons. On God's great behalf, I entreat mercy, as much lenience as you can scrape together. Let no sinner violate my unstretched neck. I deserve a soft sentence. Dump me not on a boat to Virginia. To be made to go to America is punishment enough for anyone, but not necessary in my case. Just let me off. Dangle me not from the fatal tree. Remind the hangman, thou shalt not kill. Spare me the grip of the rope. Spare me the grip of the rope at the crack of cold dawn. And it's it says, your humble fellow, Robin Dick Flanders, writ in high hope, last day of 1722. I think I'll hang on to this manuscript.
To a butterfly. I've watched you now a full half hour, self-poised upon that yellow flower. And, little butterfly, indeed I know not if you sleep or feed. How motionless! What frozen seas, more motionless! And then what joy awaits you when the breeze hath found you out among the trees and calls you forth again. This plot of orchard ground is ours. My trees they are, my sister's flowers. Here, rest your wings when they are weary. Here, lodge as in a sanctuary. Come often to us, fear no wrong. Sit near us on the bough. We'll talk of sunshine and of song and summer days when we were young, sweet, childish days that were as long as 20 days are now.
Of Lewis, and it was a sort of a verse drama. So I'll just read one part of it. Oh yes, yes. The first harvest, yes. But this one is actually every 18 and some odd years, the moon rises behind the hills, and it looks as if the hills are giving birth to the moon. So and then it's about how the moon is captured by the stones. So this is just a little bit of it. Callanish, the stones of Lewis, silent witness to virgin moonrise, repeated beauty of the birth that is childless, which tries to leave the stones, escaping from the blue-grey prison, rising freely to arc the heavens, defying the age-old curse, compelling an orbit that is uneven, as sunlight tints the mottled dawn, the moon still tethered to its stone bars, unable to gain freedom, always awaiting to rebound, displaced it appears with the stars. Through the portal of the stones I pass, stark edges pierce the sky. Suddenly the stones swirl the stars, their flinty majesty stabs me, and I swirl with the stones and the stars. The circle and the stars and I become as one, an ever-accelerating whirligig of mangled-coloured sensations. This blue-grey street maelstrom is drawing me in, ever to be captive, never to exist. I am captured in tumbling of visions past. The star flecks the only light, pierces the darkness and spinning confusion. I am swallowed into this wormhole vortex.
Indulgence for a little while, because I want to I want to read this for a dear friend of mine, Joe Rogers, who died very recently. He and I, some 60 years back, were trainee managers on the blast furnaces in Port Talbot there. He was an Anglo-Indian, he was. But he remained a dear friend of mine for 60 years there. And he happened to live in the village in Lalliston as well. I'll read this rather sad song for Joe. Wondrous Love. Time again to sing the sad song, grieve once more for loved ones, feel the pain of life's great sorrow, weep the tears that shed tomorrow. Nothing said can change a thing, no word ease love's suffering. Take my hand, this lonely mile, we'll walk with God a little while. Wondrous love, wondrous love, wondrous love I see. Wondrous love, Lord, we come to thee. See the flower of gentle living, joys and hopes and tender giving. Through the night of death's deep shadows went sweet love to other meadows. Nothing said can change a thing, no word ease love's suffering. And take my hand this lonely mile, we'll walk with God a little while. Every day, from dawn to sunset, gathers dreams we can't forget. In the light beyond the darkness blossoms now such happiness. Nothing said can change a thing, no word can ease love's suffering. Take my hand this lonely mile, we'll walk with God a little while. Wondrous love, wondrous love, wondrous love I see. Wondrous love, Lord, our hearts with thee. That's for Joe Rogers. There is work and there is play. There is work and there is play. Each is time, each is day. Life's a dance and love's a song. One is short, the other long. Pack my bags, July is here. August time is getting near. I have waited all year long. Hope I have my counted wrong. Work will come to its end. Time must have its worlds to mend. We will have to do without till the month of August's out. There is work, there is play, each its time, each its day. Life's a dance and love's a song. One is short, the other long. We will roam and travel far, ride the sun, the wind, the star, dream with tender love again, touch the lips of life's fair game. Leave the dancing clan behind, we will join the shining kind, flying high from A's to B's, cross the lands and deep blue seas. Forget care and troubled hours, cherish love and pretty flowers. See the world turn from greys, painting skies to glorious days. Lazy hours filled with hope, shade the nights with heliotrope. Set above the red of Mars, twinkling lights of two new stars. There is work and there's play, each is time, each is day. Life's a dance and love is a song. One is short, the other long. Thank you.
Songs. First one is a quiet folk song. second one is more upbeat. And for the second one, there's a guest celebrity drummer. I'm going to make up the
That means
Who can it be?
should have got my gun up.
This first one is a Bob Dylan song. It's an early Dylan song called, well, the song has actually got a bit of advice in it. And the advice is, if you can see a relationship's coming towards the end, what you need to do is walk away from that relationship with a decent pair of boots. Boots of Spanish leather, and that's what the song is called. I'm sailing away, my own true love. I'm sailing away in the morning. There's something I can send you from across the sea, from the place that I'll be landing. No, there's nothing you can send me, my own true love. There's nothing I'm wishing to be owning. Just carry yourself back to me unspoiled from across that lonesome ocean. But I might be gone a long old time, and it's only that I'm asking. Is there something I can send you to remember me by, to make your time more easy passing? If I had the stars from the darkest night and the diamonds from the deepest ocean, I'd forsake them all for your sweet kiss. Yes, that's all that I'm wishing to be owning. But I just thought that you might want something fine, made of silver or made of golden, either from the mountains of Madrid or from the coast of Barcelona. How can you ask me again? It only brings me sorrow. The same thing I would want today, I would want again tomorrow. Oh, she got a letter on a lonesome day. It was from a ship a-sailing. Said I don't know when I'll be coming back again. It depends on how I'm a-feeling. So take heed of the western wind. Take heed of the stormy weather. And yes, there's something you can send back to me. Spanish boots of Spanish leather. I'll be true to you, yes I will. I'll be true to you, yes I will. I won't cry when the other girls go by. Oh, I'll be true to you, yes I will. This time, it's all so clear to me. The way to go is easy to see. that you're the girl I've waited for, and I'll be true to you, yes I will. Yes I will. I used to be the kind who said that every girl's the same. Love was just a game for having fun. Since I looked at you, I know that I was wrong, and I really could belong to only one. I'll be true to you, yes I will. Every dream that you have, I'll fulfill. I never promised this to any girl before, but I'll be true to you, yes I will. Oh, I'll be true to you, yes I will. Yes, I'll be true to you, yes I will.
Back to another storyteller. I think last time I talked a little bit about my Uncle Emrys.
Oh, yes, we
And,
did.
yeah. And this is partly out of something he told me. And it's about my great-great-grandmother, whose name was Ellen Owen. And I'd met her originally, I think we'd been to a funeral or something, and I was talking to my great-uncle Dick, and his daughter came when on the train from Holyhead back down to London. They were going to Kettering. And anyway, he was saying then, you know, about it would have been his grandmother actually, yes, so it was great-uncle Dick, that's right. And that she'd had 17 children and been married a number of times. So anyway, we lost track then. And Uncle Emrys turned up in the 70s, 80s for a brief while anyway. And I asked him about Ellen Owen, which is her name. And he said, well, she was married 5 times, that at certain times she was quite wealthy, she married ship's captains and so forth. At other times she was so poor that she had to go gleaning in the harvest to get the sort of bits of corn to feed her family. So yes, and she'd had 22 children.
Oh my God.
And when she was 104, I think he said, she had been walking up the Market Hill in Holyhead when God had told her that she would be dead in 3 weeks. So she went home, held court, everybody came to see her, and then she expired. I finally got her funeral notice, and according to that, she had 14 children and married 3 times, and was about 95, I think, when she died. But even then, it's quite a good record, isn't it? You know. But I don't know, because Uncle Dick was sure she'd had 17 children, and he was his grandmother. So, I mean, perhaps one of the 3 lots of families didn't like to admit the others, I don't know. But I thought I'd write a poem about it anyway. It's called Ellen Owen. She's a myth as much as a woman, grandfather's grandmother, remembered by name, not by place, Ellen Owen. Neither Mrs. nor Ms. would express her, what she was, what she did. Too rigid and small for her fury. What she minded, she compassed. Is that on her grave by the straits, the old epitaph made for her sort? 5 husbands, a score of live children, but nobody's broodmare. At one moment she governed, sat prim in her drawing room glory of silk, and counted the harvest of seeds grown ripe for her pleasure. At another, poor widow, she walked foot weary among the sharp stubble for a lapful of gleanings. And as to those husbands, who knows? Not even their names have survived. She ordered, and they were or were not faint shadows below the grey rocks. She was always the one in command. Though at last, on a windy, clear day, she too took instructions. Walking up from the market, was told that 100 years young it was time. For 3 weeks she held court. Downstairs her daughters brewed tea, her respectable sons talked gravely of nothing, old friends took account of their settling day. Then debts answered, sins pardoned, all done. She turned over and slept, and awake elsewhere, still herself. But a saint, who knows? All we have are her bones. I don't know if you know the story of Blodeuwedd in the Mabinogion. Blodeuwedd was made of flowers. There was a king called Matholwch and his nephew called Gwydion, and they got into a bit of a mess. And Gwydion had produced a son, and Llawgyffes, and the son's mother was not happy about this because he hadn't intended to have a child. It was a case of jumping over a broom, and suddenly there was a baby on the floor. Strange magic thing and all this sort of thing. Anyway, she refused to give a name to her son, then she refused to give him arms, and finally she said he would never have a wife of humankind. And so the king Matholwch and his nephew got together, and the nephew was in the story that doesn't say officially, was obviously supposed to be the little boy's father. They got together and they made this girl out of flowers, hawthorn and so on, and called her Blodeuwedd, or Blodeuwedd, it varies a bit. Yeah. And it struck me afterwards, poor old Blodeuwedd was taken off, married to this Llaw, and then he was off on business, court business or whatever. He was the king's nephew and so on. And he met this chap called Gronw, who turned up on a wet day and said, can I have a bit of shelter in your hall until the rain stops? And of course they got together, and she rather fancied Gronw, or she was obliged to. And so he said, look, can't we get rid of your husband? And so anyway, she said, well, he's magic. He's not quite human, you know, because they magicked him to make him in the first place. And therefore, you know, he has to be killed a special way. So later on, when she was in bed with her husband, she asked him, she said, I'm very worried, she said. You know, I mean, how would you die? I don't want to be left without you, sort of thing. So he explained that he had to be standing on the back of a goat, wearing clothes that were no clothes, or in a sort of long rigmarole about how he had to die, you know. So of course then she went off and she said, oh great, you know, thank you for letting me know. Now I can make sure it never happens. But of course she went off and told Ronald, who decided to try and do something about it. And she persuaded Llaw to, you know, do all the various things, stand on the back of the goat wrapped in a fishing net, clothes and not clothes and so on, you know. And then Gronw was hiding up on the hillside ready to shoot an arrow through him, I suppose. But Llaw spotted him and threw a spear, which went straight through a stone, and apparently you can still see the stone with the hole in it somewhere up in North Wales, and Gronw was killed, that was it. And Gwydion, Llaw's supposed father, came along, and the maids-in-waiting who had persuaded Blodeuwedd to welcome Gronw, they were all driven till they fell into this lake and were drowned, and Blodeuwedd was changed into an owl. So, you know, flower-faced Blodeuwedd, that was her name. She flew away hooting. Poor old Llaw, of course, had also been badly injured, and he turned into, I think it was an eagle.
Yeah, an eagle.
So his uncle-stroke father had to recover him and bring him back to his own state. Well, it struck me looking at that, you know, it's an interesting story and whatever, but when you really think about it, they weren't gods, they were just human magicians, if you like, so there was no way Blodeuwedd could really have been made out of flowers. And I imagined her as being perhaps a serving girl whom they could do what they wanted with, whom they treated with, I don't know, herbs, wines, who knows what, and made her into this sort of creature fit for Llaw. And Llaw himself, of course, was not, although he was a young man and so on, he was being very much organised and driven. They were both of them being manipulated by Matholwch and William. And so this is what I made of it. It's Blodeuwedd speaking. It was the women brought me there, tongues greedy for scandal. I was nothing to them, a doll to be dressed or paraded. Bring him into the court, they said, see how handsome he is. I did as they told me. What else? It was how they had made me, the two men crouched in the firelight, spinning their creature of spells from the broom and the may. Oh, once I was human. The veins of my hand showed red in the midday light. Small rain on my arm pricked me to ecstasy. But now, he too is their toy, a creature they made, not for love but for malice. And this man here, this Grono, the women commend him. He wants me. He has wants. He's not marble like us. Perhaps at his touch their spell will dissolve. My lion is home. My honeycomb lord requires me. We lie in the dark and I ask him how he will die. He tells me a story of goats, of bathtubs and nets. I know it's not true, but I'm glad. I do not want him to die. I do not want... In the cave of the window a bird cuts across the pale sky, and I feel the lift of the wind under it, rising. But nothing has changed. The puppets still answer their strings. We both must follow our fate. For me the despair, the dark pain of betrayal. For him the hero's ordeal, half death and dead meat in the tree. And for Grono the cold fear of a known execution. And later, when they think that their meddling is done, when the women are dead in the lake and a flower face of feathers hides among leaves in the dusk, why then two lovers walk free in the light, and the rest was a dream. I do hope they did. And you mustn't look at me for this one. You must imagine a tall, beautiful blonde, okay? I've never been tall, I've never been a blonde, and I've certainly never been beautiful. But there we are. It's called The Lover and the Flea. And the thing is, in an old Welsh tradition, the bard would send a message of undying love or whatever to his beloved, using, it's a thing called llatau, using, say, a seagull or any kind of animal at all. And one particular bard sent a flea to his girlfriend. What she thought of it, well, this is the girl answering back. There was this poet, see, and he sent me a flea. Love's messenger, that's what he said. Told it to hop on my bed, and from there, oh yes, he was quite specific. Mapped it all out, quite as slick as if he had been there before. So I promised I showed him the door. Well, anyway, here was this flea. Quite common, you take it from me. No prince in disguise. And he hopped right up to my toe, then my knee. Then he stopped, checking his road map, no doubt. And of course I hit out, but I missed. I'll swear that he sidestepped. And then he was leaping again and again. I slapped at the itch, but no use. For he crept further on with such craft and tickled. I tell you, I laughed. The poor poet, his gorgeous romance after that had no hint of a chance. Well, my nightdress providing no check, this flea came in time to my neck. And then with a bound he delivered his message of love. Oh, I shivered to think where he'd been, what he'd say if I let him return. There's no way I could let him survive with that tale. There and then, with one flick of my nail, I dispatched him elsewhere. Ah, poor flea. A martyr for love, but I'll swear as he vanished to limbo, the air trembled faintly with laughter. A voice whispered softly, if I'd had the choice, I'd have chosen this end, for I die slain by beauty, and dead fleas don't lie. But as for that poet, when he shortly after came calling to see if his pet had won through, I, my dear, sent him off with a flea in his ear.
It's because it's kind of a shame that classic nursery rhymes are sort of dying out. And I play this game with my grandchildren, and it's called the Name Game. So join in if you want, and as I go along, there's some nursery rhymes or stories, and you can just yell out the names if you want. If you feel really shy, you could just say them to your friend or self. It's called the Name Game. People who live at the top of the hill should not be called Jack and Jill. Very good. People who are small and called Willy Winky should be made to stay indoors at night. Daddy bears who go out while their porridge cools should make sure they lock their front doors. Got that one? People who are called Muffet should be told, get over your arachnophobia. People who are old and Dukes of York should not be in charge of soldiers. People who are called Humpty should not climb walls and join Weight Watchers at once. Doctors who are called Foster should look where they're going and wear wellies. People who are called Simon should go to a festival or fair, should not try to eat all the pies. People who are called Tom and are sons of pipers should not steal pigs or other things. People who are called Jack and who only eat lean meat should only marry fat eaters. No vegans, please. All these people should heed this advice. Before you do anything, just think twice. Thank you.
This is called Cochli Iaith, and I read it a few months ago as a poem, but I've learned it now as a song. So I hope you like it. It's lamenting many things that Wales has lost as a country, as the land, the nation, the culture, the songs, the choirs, and it's by Harry Webb. Cochli Iaith a cochli irddas, cochli awen, cochli barddas, cochli coronair, cymdeithas, ac anaich cael bratiau ffas. Cochli hyn a lawan persain, cochli tanair dilyn cwrain, cochli cwrair dias bedain, ac anaich cael clebar brain, cochli tir a cochli tyddyn, cochli elan a throerin, cochli clairwen a chlanwyddyn, a'r wlad i gyd yn ddŵr llyn. Cochli cryf a cochli unaid, cochli fydd hyn roniaid, cochli fydd hyn drefftadaeth, ac anaich cael bawr chlaid, cael yn ôl, 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 cael go.
find myself nowadays thinking back over the years with grandchildren, as many will have, and great-grandchildren. I find myself also thinking 100 years ahead. And the present is almost like a dot, you know. The present is almost like a dot. And it's full of triviality and tragedy and all those things that the present always has. But the past is so full of richness and the future is so full of potential that it can occupy your entire thought process, really. Looking back, I find people want to go on holiday and they're very busy and they haven't got time to do anything. They haven't got time to think. The youngsters don't appear to have time to think with these little devices they have. And I must confess a bit of guilt because I was instrumental in bringing about a lot of these technologies in the steel industry. But my grandfather used to refuse to speak English. He would not speak English, right? To me, my grandfather. Not at all. And he would never allow you to do anything on Sunday, okay? So I'm going to cast my mind back to the days when Wales were just attached to us Sundays many years back. Didn't want to do a great deal except to drink it in secret, perhaps. They used to drink in secret in many pubs on Sunday. But Sunday was sacrosanct. But then society moved on and they didn't want Sundays. And then the corporations moved in and of course they had their stores and supermarkets, which I frequent as well. You know, I take advantage of all the things that are available on Sunday now that isn't. So I'm not being critical about it, but I do reminisce sometimes about it. 6 days we shall labour. 6 days we shall labour. The 7th is meant for rest. The words are not from my lips, but God who knows them best. The devil will debate them, and reason bring to play. It truly through the clever he'll claim the holy day. I don't suppose it means much to use old-fashioned words, for modern is a weapon that shapes the thought that's heard, but greets an ancient creature with ways as old as time, and nothing is its language, it speaks an ageless mind. So why then should I worry? I'll speak my own good way and state my simple case for God's own holy day. There's Tesco and there's Sainsbury's and all the others too. They took his day and changed it just for a coin or two. But reason is a jester in the court of thought. The spirit reigns supreme, so my child is taught. If it's not so, then cursed is the world, and everything that is around itself is curled. 6 days we shall labour, the 7th is meant for rest. The words are not from my lips, but God who knows them best. The devil will debate them, and reason bring to play. Is truly through the clever he'll claim the holy day. That's how we lost Sunday. Awesome. We've been married 60 years, my wife and I. It could have been another way. It could have been another way. The path we walk, the part we play. But in the stars where charts are drawn, all was fixed when love was born. For just a while, we walked alone. We tried each dream, we turned each stone. But when the morning things were done, 2 lives met and joined as one. We licked the sky and touched the moon. We danced the fields of May and June. We wished July its August fun to greet September's beckoning sun. And then, my love, the days were ours, the days of grace and tender hours, bequeathed by time to memory's care, shaping dreams we live and share. The years go by and number on, the past alive and never done, and every day a shining gem, September's gift, just like then. It could have been another way. The path we walk, the path we play, but in the stars the charts are drawn. All was fixed when love was born. Thank you.
So many happy returns, and this is on 50 years of Luton Central Library. Forgive me, people have heard me this before. Friday afternoon, school holiday in the summer, in town. Mum in the shops, my sister Angela and I under the shelf life spell of the spines. Each of us hunting down our permitted quartet of titles. Angie Boo is a Dr. Dolittle fan, and we both want Billy Bunter. Alongside the victuals, we take a punt on an unknown to bolster our underarm holdings. I strike gold, add to my hoard Marianne Dreams and Ian Serelier's Silver Sword. As we delve shelf-wise, we'll chance upon each other in an aisle and then resume our searching in amongst the upright, tightly lined, a long end clearly indexed, perching. And with our gathered up pilings, we sat at a reader's table, Paddington Stair, and in amongst the low-slung voices we dive into our choices until Mum bag ladies in from the outside world, smiling and taking us home from home. And then there's another thing. John Humphreys and I, don't know him personally obviously, but we both have, and I think Brendan also, have a little bit of a aversion to, there's this thing about everyone has to start a sentence with so at the moment. So you ask someone a question, they say so. But then I thought, well actually I say in it a lot. I was accused of saying in it a lot for a long time. And this is taking out the in it and putting in it in it. This clock has still got a lot of mileage in it. This clock is well stocked with mileage in it. The society has got deep class division in it. Class-wise, this society is still divided in it. This potato has the possibility of the most delightful bloom in it. This potato is bloomful of possible delight in it. This gap between the floorboards has got some little bits of cheese in it. Have you thought about doing some hoovering in it?
See if it works again.
It was late last night. I was feeling something wasn't right. There was not another soul inside. Only you. So we walked along, though I knew that there was something wrong, and the feeling hit me oh so strong about you. Then you gazed up at me, and the answer was plain to see, 'cause I saw the light in your eyes, in your eyes. Though we had our flame, I just never would suspect a thing, till that little bell began to ring in my head, but I tried. run, though I knew it wouldn't help me none, 'cause I could never love no one, so I said, but my feelings for you were just something I never knew, till I saw the light in your eyes, in your eyes. But I love you best. It's not something that I say in jest, 'cause you're different, girl, from all the rest. In my eyes, and I ran out before, but I won't do it anymore. Can't you see the light in my eyes, in my eyes, in my eyes, in my eyes?
One more.
One more. So it must be Holly's evening.
Oh look,
Even though this is
win
not
more.
What?
No, that board, win more, one more.
Right. That's not Holly's song. Yeah. Hey, it's the right key for this one.
Just one love, that's all it took me. Just one love, that's all it took me. Just one love, and I felt so hard in love with you. Oh, I found out how good it feels to have your love. Oh, say you will be mine forever and always. Oh, just one love. And I knew that you were my only one. Oh, I thought I was dreaming, but I was wrong. Yeah. Oh, but I'm gonna keep on scheming till I can make you my own. So you see, I really can't without you. I'm nothing. Oh, just one love, and I know. I'll get you someday. I thought I was dreaming, but I was wrong. Yeah. Oh, but I'm gonna keep on scheming till I can make you my own. Just one love, that's all it took me. Just one love, that's all it took me. Just one love, that's all it took me. Just one look.
There we go. Thank you very much.